Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we got a bunch of new cards to be talking about from Black Bolt and White Flare, and I thought it might be fun to have a look at the Swords of Justice, or the Three Musketeers, or however you want to phrase them. Because you know what? We got a bunch of new cards for these dudes, and they're ones we should get excited about. Maybe the best way to start here is with Keldeo EX, and we should probably start off by saying no, it doesn't have rush in. Because obviously we've already seen some cards which are just seminal Gen 5 cards that are getting reprinted here. So we've already seen the old Emble get reprinted with just the same ability. We've seen the old Electric get reprinted, not just with the same ability, but exactly the same, even down to the flavor text. That card is the same. So people were looking at Keldeo, bearing in mind we've already got an air balloon reprint. So people were thinking, right, well, get rushing Keldeo back, and then we can all just have that going again, and everything's going to be fine. No, ladies and gentlemen, everything will not be fine, because unfortunately we do have a new Keldeo EX, but it doesn't have rush in, even though we are getting a reprint of Air Balloon. Does that mean we're sad, or can we still be a little bit excited about it? Well, we got 210 HP on a basic EX, and we've got an attack for 2 water energy that does 30 damage, and if this Pokemon came from the bench to the active position this turn, it does 90 more damage. Oh! It's one of them. So if it starts on the bench and goes to the active, then you do 120 damage. So it's basic Pokemon, 2 energy, 120 damage. It's alright. Of course, one of the funny things here is that actually Air Balloon's going to be a great card for this, because what you really want to do is essentially put an Air Balloon on here. This has still got a retreat cost of 2. It's teasing us. And then the retreat cost of 2 means Air Balloon will allow you to get it out the active nice and easily. And then you can essentially switch back into it, do another 120. It's fine. And look, 120 of it hitting for weakness, that's 240. So basic EXs like, for instance, Reshiram, which is coming in this set and could be a big one. Yes, you will get that. But generally speaking, this is a fairly uninspired attack. The other one we've got is free energy, 120, and is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So damage-wise, no, but it essentially goes through anything, which is nice. So if you're playing a Excalibur deck, and you're worried that your opponent might be able to block you and things of that nature, this will essentially give you anything you need coming in, and then you're like, oh, you're trying to block me. No, mate, it's not working. And obviously, if you're trying to use something like a Excalibur, well, firstly, it's your engine. Secondly, it's free energy 130 on a stage 2. Okay, fine, free energy 120 is a little bit worse, but it's on a basic and it's not your main engine for getting energy out, so there's the argument. I'm not terribly impressed with this. I'm giving this one between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. I don't mind 2 energy 120 on a basic Pokemon, but that's really that good if you're hitting for weakness or hitting against basic Pokemon, and you can go through stuff. It's certainly useful, but it's not great, and that's my point here. But my boy, when we're talking about this group of Pokemon, my boy is Terrakion. I love Terrakion. I get excited when we get a new Terrakion. Is it going to be any good? Well, what we got here is 140 HP, and then we got 2 energy, 50 damage. If during your opponent's last turn, any of your Pokemon were KO'd by damage from an attack, you do 130 damage, 80 more, 130 rather than 50. It's a revenge attack. It's a retaliate attack. And let's not forget, classic Terrakion, Gen 5 Terrakion, did have a retaliate attack. Now, I've told the story once or twice in the past, but I did grind into the World Championships in 2012. I got through the last chance qualifier, And part of, really one of the biggest, maybe the biggest part of my deck was this Terrakion. It destroyed Darkrai in a genuinely hilarious manner. Didn't lose to Darkrai all weekend. So when I see this Terrakion, I go, oh, my boy's back. I'm so happy about this. I missed you. And to be fair, that was 2 energy 30 plus 60. This is 2 energy 50 plus 80. Obviously, in the intervening years, a lot of numbers have gone up in the Pokemon TCG. And this could still be good. Like I say, the reason why it was so good back in Gen 5 is because of that clean one-hit KO that it got on Darkrai. It was the fact that you would be able to get a one-hit KO on a fresh Darkrai. That was a really big deal. And I'm just not sure we kind of have that right now. We don't have, oh, there's one big colorless Pokemon that just so happens to have exactly 2 times the amount of damage that Terrakion is doing. Here it would be 260. But 260 is at least a decent number. I don't know, maybe you're terrified about Terrapagos. Maybe Terrapagos is the one we really need to be going after here, and this will easily get a KO on Terrapagos. Maybe that's the answer. Or maybe there's something else in the future that is going to come around and we're going to look at it and go, oh, that's what this is designed for. That also might be the option. It's certainly a good attack for 2 energy. Love that. But this does tend to be an I'm hitting for weakness. Ergo, I can get a nice one-hit KO if my opponent took a prize last turn, or took a KO damage from an attack, I should say. And I just don't know if we're there in the format right now where Terrakion's got a space. Free energy 100, by the way, is terrible. But this does harken back to the old Terrakion, and that makes me very, very happy. Seriously, that's one of my top 3 or 4 cards ever. But I did grind into Worlds with it, which does kind of explain why I love it so much. Again, let's give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. Not a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. But it does seem to be that this card, it has a specific use. And I'm not sure we're there yet that it's actually going to do what it's supposed to do. Sorry about that. But hey, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because we got Cobalion as well. And what we got with Cobalion is single energy, 20 damage, and you get to discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, I see that. I can live with that. It's single energy 20, which is not good damage, but if you're against a deck that's relying on special energy, being able to take one of them out every turn while also getting some damage on the board, I can see that working. We've then got free energy, 80 damage, but if this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, this attack does 40 more damage. So it's 120 plus whatever you would be doing with the tool. I'm not saying you have to put a tool on here that does extra damage. You absolutely don't have to. But I do feel like putting a tool on here that does extra damage might be the best plan. And you could go a little bit simple, a little bit basic here. Whack a Vitality Band on, do an extra 10 damage, yay. Or maybe we can knock it up a notch with Maximum Belt and do 50 more to EXs, which might be a bit try-hard, but it could be kind of fun. Or Defiance Band does 30 more if you've got more prize cards remaining than your opponent, as an example. So we got some ways, we got some tools that we can use here to do a bunch of extra damage, which is lovely. And then here, you've got an attack which can do some damage. And look, when it comes to metal Pokemon, we've still got Archaladon to accelerate the energy. And we've still got Metang to accelerate the energy. So we do have ways to get the energy on here. We've got some nice tools that can essentially up the amount of damage that we're doing. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but I am saying that as a single prize metal type attacker, this could work. I could see this one coming out and giving a little bit of value. The fact that you have to have a tool on there is a little bit annoying, I grant you. But doing, well, it's never really going to be, well, it shouldn't be 120. It should be more than that, honestly. Should be, 130 to 150, something in that range. I can see it, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're hitting for weakness or going after single prize Pokemon. There's a use for this, but I'm afraid going to give it between 3 or 4 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies, that would be barbaric. So none of these are great yet. Could Virizion be the one that jumps over and goes, no. You've been waiting for me, dudes. I am here. Well, we got single energy, 30 damage, and you look at the amount of damage you do to the defending Pokemon, and then you heal that much. You heal as much damage as you did. Okay. Should say, as always, I've done the translations myself, but then check with the lovely Antoine Boulet to make sure I've not done a silly. And by now you will know how awesome Antoine is. Antoine is one of the best people in the entire Pokemon community. This is fine, but the issue here is that unless someone's trying to chip away at you, the healing's going to be kind of irrelevant. Like, you got 120 HP. You're going to get KO'd a lot. One hit KO'd a lot, I mean. So I look at this and I go, well, look, if somebody's trying to do like 30, 40, 50 damage a turn, yes, you can just do that back and heal. And in a pre-release, I think this could be a really fun Pokemon. I just don't think this is it. Then we got free energy, 130, and it can't attack next turn. Okay. And you'll notice that, that the whole trio here has got free energy attacks. Terrakion's just 100 damage, which isn't enough. Cobalion is 120 if you've got a tool attached. And Virizion is 130, but you can't attack next turn. The thing is, Virizion's not got the energy acceleration that Cobalion's got here. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and give this one 3 Wossies. I think it's the worst of the 3. Sorry. I do think there is a lot of potential here with these Pokemon hitting like 120, especially if you're hitting for weakness. But I'm not looking at any of these and going, yes, that's what my deck needs. I think they're good, and I think they've absolutely got uses, but I don't think any of them are flat out ridiculous. So that's what I think. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Get us? Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Andrew Kincaid, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.